Welcome to our webinar on converting sales reps' commission to a percentage of operating margin. The webinar agenda for today is to understand why CompensationMaster sales compensation training is effective, talking about a current state assessment, the foundation for solving and the steps in the conversion process, the value delivered across all functioning groups, a review of the percent of operating margin, the commission plan differences between a percentage of gross sales versus percentage of operating margin, and finally, a checklist of strategic roadmap for successful conversion. This is about collaboration between your company and CompensationMaster as a training company to help you get the most out of the exercise of converting to a percentage of gross margin. Why CompensationMaster training? Our mission is to help companies create a merit-based compensation strategy for their sales force that rewards productivity fairly from top to bottom and brings integrity to the process through choice. We believe in transparency, in trust, and in profitability. Transparency is about creating a transparent, merit-based compensation strategy that fairly rewards productivity through choice. Trust is about being able to treat the sales force with trust, respect, and fairness. And profit is to continually work towards a common goal of an inspired, motivated, and productive sales force that results in a financial return to all shareholders. And the CompensationMaster, all the calculations are tied directly to your operating margin, to the expenses, and to the sales reps' production. The current state assessment is the variation between what a company's published commission plan states will be paid to the sales reps versus what they're actually being paid today. It's an understanding of the mathematical dynamics of how money is being distributed with respect to the sales reps' production and motivation. And it's about connecting the profit of the company specifically to the commission plans. The CSA delivers the value of the company to its sales reps and its sales managers all at the same time. The sales reps get a choice of market-leading plans, they get increased productivity, and they get flexibility in the choice of the style of the commission plan that they'd like to have. Sales managers have increased recruiting, maximized retention, stabilized office environment, and the company be able to get nimble again and have an adaptive business model. It protects the company margin and it actually increases profitability. Here's an example of a medium-sized company before. The horizontal axis is from 0 to 250,000 in this example, and the percentage paid to the sales rep is between 40 and up to 85%. The green line is the published commission line. The triangles below and above the green line are where the actual salespeople are being paid out at. And this is a result of special deals, entitlements, poorly constructed or missing rules, and perceived competitive pressures. The giveaway in this example is 822,000. The giveaway might be $1.5 million up here. The takeaway might be 300,000 down here. So the total giveaway is $822,000. And this is because of poorly designed compensation plans that breed the need for special deals and negatively impacting company profitability, sales reps' productivity, and recruiting and retention. Here's the same commission plan with the commission plan changed and designed off of the margin. So there's a new green line that people are getting paid on. They get paid a percentage up until they reach a break-even point, which is called the discipline. Then they get the maximum payout thereafter. This company allowed the salespeople to choose to move to the new plans when they wanted to. And so you can still see that there are some sales reps above the line on the payout being overpaid to the commission plan. And there still are some people down below that chose not to because of some deal that they had, so they're getting underpaid. Giveaway originally was 822, the pickup was 424,000. The remaining amount to change over time would be 397,000. The question is, Firstly, are the sales reps incentive with this new style of commission plan? Number two is the profit insured. And when CompensationMaster designs the plans that the software does, the first expense that we put in is the profit. You always start with the end in mind in the calculations. And that's one of Drucker's famous quotes. Third is, are you competitive with these new commission plans? And number four, is this the best possible green line? Let's move on to the foundation for solving and the steps in the conversion process. There are 4 steps: needs, financial, solve, and rollout. A lot of companies start with the financial, but when they start with the financial, there's somebody in finance is telling the management, the managers, here's how much we want you to pay out to the sales force. And there's an old saying that says, if I tell you, you're told, but if you tell me, you're sold. We'll always recommend you start with the needs. So the needs is talking to the sales force and understanding their unmet needs and wants. So you're treating the sales force like a customer. And you're looking for common themes across your sales reps, offices, and executive management team. And then you want to present the findings to the executive team as part of the process. And then you also want to have an assessment of behaviors and communication styles, whichever program that you use, so you understand how to communicate with your sales force and the company and everybody in the company. The next part is financial. That's where you collect and input your financial data, you normalize trends, you normalize your P&L, you remove the items in the P&L that aren't necessary for designing commission plans, and then you identify the opportunity for improvement. This identification of opportunity for improvement actually ties back to the needs. Many times when you're talking to the sales force and they respond to you, they tell you the things that you're spending money on that they don't use and they don't like and they don't want. And they give you opportunities to say, here's a better way of doing it. And solving is going in to design the plan options. You start off with one discipline and then you create options that attach to that payout curve. And then you test against profitability, the goals, and competitive offerings at the same time. You can build any commission plan you want in the world, but if it's not competitive, it won't hold any weight. So you always have to test against the competitive offerings. And it's not just money, there's the value proposition that attaches to that at the same time. The next is to go into adverse selection and transition activities. Some companies will just bite the bullet and say, these are the new plans going forward. Others, like the one we just looked at, will let the sales rep choose which style of plan over a period of time to make a change and when they want to do it. And the final is for you to roll it out. So you need to provide training to your management team, support the managers through your rollout, and support the transition to the new commission plans. When you pull this all together, CompensationMaster actually helps you create a system that follows a discipline with implementation, the process involving the needs, financial assessment, and so forth. The value delivered across all the functioning groups is between sales, marketing, finance, human resources, and operations. This is a holistic view. The sales force gets exciting plan designs, they get increased productivity, increased profitability, sales force satisfaction, they get motivated sales force, and they get a competitive advantage because it's not about splits anymore. It's about contributing the fair share that you need for your market as a salesperson, and then getting to go for the gold and getting to pay the highest amount you can. And from marketing standpoint, therefore you have a focused sales force, increased market share, faster product penetration, motivation and excitement. And from finance, all the plans tied to the operating margin. There's no runaway commission plans ever again. You get enhanced cost control of sales compensation plans. You end up with fiscally responsible plans, and you have designed to positively impact share value of the company. Human resources gets increasing recruitment, stronger, more qualified candidates, easy articulated in the incentive programs, easily administration, and really good for retention. Operations have more accurate forecast modeling. They have competitive offerings, We have faster go-to-market penetration through individual compensation methodology. It's a completely seamless synergy across all functional groups, and nobody can hide in the corner because they're all part of the process. When you start working with CompensationMaster, the software is so powerful. Once you get everybody in the room, you can find out the answer to a question financially in the design of the commission plan in 4 seconds. It doesn't waste anybody's time. Benefits to the sales reps are flexibility and choice, increased income potential, opportunity for growth, simplicity, and more control over how they work with their clients for you. The benefits to the company are Salesforce satisfaction, increased profitability, Salesforce retention, increased market share, and more control over your company. Let's review the percentage of operating margin. In the first slide on the left-hand side, the commissions are being paid as a percentage of gross sales. We have $1 million coming in, and the total revenues are shown as $1 million. But in our operating expenses, we have a cost of goods sold of $200,000. And then we deduct advertising, bad debt, commission expenses, $150,000, so it's 15% of the $1 million. Other expenses, rent, salaries, etc., come to $434,000. The total operating expense is $787,000, and the income before taxes is $183,000, or 18.3%. So now let's take a look on the right-hand side and take a look at the gross margin. It's the same income statement. We have $1 million, but now we're going to deduct our cost of sales goods. The operating margin is now $800,000 on which you're going to design your commission plans. We still have advertising of $3,000. We're still paying $150,000 to the sales reps, but now it's 19% of the 800. We still have $434,000 in expenses, and the total operating expenses are $587,000. Our profit is net profit before taxes is $183,000, or 22.9% of our operating margin. Looking at these two together, you can see that the difference in profit is 18.3 on gross, it's 22% on margin. And remember that the cost of goods sold was never your money. It had to be paid out to someone else. So this is the reality of what you're running your company on, is $800,000. We're still paying $150,000 out to the sales force. We're paying 15 on gross sales. We're paying 19 on margin. The commission plan differences, when we take a look at the two together, on the left-hand side, you're going to see the company. This is a larger company. It's $39 million, and they still have 20%. Their commission plan was a rolling average plan. And the definition for a rolling average is the split is continually recalculated based on how much operating margin a rep brings in over a 12-month period. So on the left side, it started at 5% up until the quota reached $450,000 in gross sales, and then the maximum payout was 35%. On the right-hand side, we're still starting at 5%, and then the quota is 488, and at the top end, it goes to 2% level payout. So there's a huge difference in the opportunity for the sales force when the sales force looks at this. And you don't have to play games anymore as a salesperson and stop, a transaction from happening near the end of the year because you're not going to benefit. You're only going to get 35%. You're always going for the goal because you can get up to that 60% level. The financial income, when we look on the left-hand side, there's a lot of numbers here. We're going to look at the left box first. So we have $39 million coming in with 40 people, and there's the unit $4,650 is 210.92 average per person. There's your 39 million, and then we're paying out in the box to the sales force 14 million, and the profit is 5,143,000. We go to the right-hand side, and now we're paying off as a percentage of margin. The amount drops down to $31 million because we've taken away the cost of goods sold at 20% of 7.8 million. We're still paying the sales force. We're paying them 13.9, So out $51,000 to Salesforce, we can still make final little adjustments to that to make it equal if you'd like to. But the profit is $5,144,000, so it's only up $789. You can see you can create different, better looking commission plans off of the operating margin than you can off of gross sales. Let's go through a checklist of the strategic roadmap for successful conversion. First is to create a current state assessment of commission plan impact. That's the CSA. The next is to create and deliver a proposal to include one core project or options available. The next is to create a project timeline, then create a current state assessment of commission plan impact. The next is to create the kickoff meeting for all the ELT or your division managers, department heads, and present the CSA to them. This is a real good visual that quantifies what's really happened to your commission plan and why your sales aren't performing with your sales force as far as compensation goes. The next is to conduct a needs survey, sales reps, ELT, division management. Then you move into the financials and validate, normalize, and tie your prior year production reports to the financials holistically or by division. Then you create comp design session war rooms for the company and or divisions as you go through it. You might go through 3 or 4 of these war rooms, but the war rooms are only going to be an hour and a half, maybe 2.5 hours at the most. And then lastly is to roll out to your sales force. So there's your checklist that you need to go through. We will have a link to this afterwards, and you can click on the list going forward. So the company expectations are how you're going to define your success. And you should have all of your department heads and your ELT ask these 2 questions. What does your organization want out of this compensation redesign initiative? And secondly, how do you define success? Once you're finished the program and you've got your new commission plans, you can put these questions back up, put the answers back up, and go around the room and say, did we achieve this? Is this the success we were looking for with these new commission plans? So at this point, you may feel a little overwhelmed, but let us assure you that we're here to help you however we can. We have online training courses that will successfully guide you through the strategic roadmap process. We have coaching programs for the little bit of extra assistance you might need, and you can click on our link for an entire glossary of all the terms that we've used during this presentation. We want to thank you again for attending our webinar, and we will answer any questions that we have in the chat at that time. The best way to predict the future is to create it.